Give Duke a lot of credit. They're a very, very good team. Coach Shire's doing an unbelievable job with them. They're very talented. They're very well schooled. They have a very difficult system to guard with really, really good players. I have a lot of respect for their program and for John and his staff. We got our butts kicked the other night against Ole Miss and really challenged our guys. The last several days, we focus and harp on and emphasize the daily process, right? The next thing being the most important thing, and clean some stuff up from the Ole Miss game. We had a couple really good days of preparation. We just weren't able to practice a lot going into the Ole Miss game. We hadn't really had a actual practice since we left for the Bahamas because we came back, had a pretty short turnaround. Had some guys banged up, so it was a lot of film and walkthrough. We just weren't in the state to be able to have practice. And after the Ole Miss game, we had a 4-day layoff. We were able to go back to like our core principles and have true preseason practices. First two, we weren't even focusing on our next opponent. It was just on us. And I was proud of our guys' response. And we were up for the challenge tonight, came out, played really well in the first half, but didn't sustain it. In the second half, in the first half, we held them to 36% from the field and 27% from three, and then it was 55% in the second half. Even at the 8-minute media, I think it's a 6-point game at the 8-minute media. We're right there. We just need to get a couple stops and knock down a couple big shots. Weren't able to get stops. Had some open looks and didn't knock down. You give Duke credit. They stepped up in the crucial part of the game and got some stops and made some really, really big shots. Disappointing how the second half went. Got a quick turnaround getting ready for a good UTEP team on Wednesday. And got to turn the page and go back to work tomorrow, clean this one up, and start preparing for the next one.
Pat, the 18-2 run for them in the second half seemed to be the real swing. What did you see from them? What did you see from your group in that stretch?
Is that what it was, 18-2? Yeah. Again, you always have to give your opponent credit. In that part of the game, they really start getting it going, banged a couple big shots. We tried to sort of stop the momentum, called a timeout. Got a pretty good look out of the timeout, didn't go down, and it just got away from us from there. So, but still not guarding to our standard or to the level we needed to defend at the 8-minute media. We're still right there. And even at the 4-minute media, it's a 10-point game at 70-60. I think Rain bangs a three. Didn't we bang a three to cut it to 7? Against a really, really good team like that, man, the margin for error is small. I felt like our turnovers were a big part of, why we lost tonight. You can't turn the ball over. 15 times. We had 10 assists, 15 turnovers. I think we turned it over on like 22% of our possessions. We want to be at 15% or less. And against a good team like that, you can't have that many empty possessions. But give Duke credit. They're a very, very good defensive team and a very good offensive team as well.
Coach, when you look at the team, especially with Chucky playing 37 minutes and then Rain and Javon at 33 minutes, with your up-tempo style, the Duke players mentioned the possibility of maybe hitting a slight bit of a wall. Do you have any concerns about just the conditioning playing that many with so many demands you have offensively and defensively?
Yeah, I don't really think we're playing to – I haven't seen the analytic statistics at the end of the game. Like in the Ole Miss game, we had 66 offensive possessions, which, would put you middle of the pack in the country. It's not a breakneck pace. I don't know what the possessions were today. I'd have to see that. But, we're not playing as clap back downhill on makes. We're doing some things to kind of slow the game down. Probably running more set plays right now than we normally would in the past, just to be able to to be able to allow our guys to get a little bit of I don't want to say a rest, because you still have to execute your set plays, but it makes the possession a little bit longer. It makes the team, the defense that you're playing against, labor a little bit. So we are doing some things to change. I mean, we're not the same team we were 2.5 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when we were playing 11 guys. I mean, obviously, we were downhill, getting the ball inbounds, tilting the floor, attacking the basket. We've definitely made some adjustments because of how short our rotation is right now. I never, ever, ever make any excuses or give any explanations. It is what it is. The difficult thing has been, practice. It's hard to practice. You can't really play traditional 5-on-5. I'm 49 and I can still hoop. And I'm jumping in there sometimes. You know what I mean? So doing a little bit more 3-on-3, 4-on-4. You just got to get really, really creative, and that's the challenging thing, the interesting thing, the fun thing a lot of times is, every team's different, every season's different, the ups and downs, the goods, the bads, the adversity you face. It's like each season, like Forrest Gump said, it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. We've been dealt a little bit of a tough hand with some injuries and things like that. We're making some adjustments on the fly and trying to figure out our new identity. I think our guys played their butts off. We didn't guard to our standard in the second half, and I'm sure as heck not going to sit up here and say it's because we were tired. We got to be better. All right? We're not going to make excuses in this uniform. So, but yeah, that's a long-winded question to say, like, we're really not playing like we normally do.
Pat, this fan base, they've been waiting to explode for a moment. The Ole Miss, the Tennessee games, they came out and hit you and took the wind out of the air out of the building here. When Rain hits that three and it's 10-3 and Terrence hits the one that's 30-16 and the place just explodes, what does that feel like?
I mean,
to
we
you?
got the best fan base in the country. I don't care what anybody else says. Like, I've felt it, I've lived it, breathed it, felt it from the moment I was named the head coach here. I told you, I'm from a town right up the road, 90 miles from here, and, they talk about a lot of other things in that town. They talk about the Bengals, they talk about the Reds, they talk about this, they talk about this. In this town, they talk about Louisville basketball, man, and it's part of the fabric of this community, man. It's in the DNA of people that live in the 502, and we appreciate them. We appreciate them supporting. We appreciate the energy that they brought tonight. You could feel it when we went on that run the first half and we jumped on them. I get it. People are ready to explode. I'm ready to stink and explode. They were a big part of the momentum. We told our guys, man, put game pressure on Duke, and we're going to get an eighth man. We say 7 guys is what it takes to be an elite defense. That's 5 guys giving more than just themselves. When we're playing as hard as we need to defensively, it's like there's 7 guys. And when the Yum Center gets rocking like that, it's an eighth. And, the fan base put game pressure on Duke today and was a big, big part of the success we had for the first 26 minutes of the game. Weren't able to sustain. We'll be better next time.
Pat, back corner over here. Terrence, what did you see out of him offensively?
Yeah, I thought Terrence
tonight?
gave us a great lift, a great boost to start the games, making shots, played really well offensively, gave us a great burst. Like everybody else, we needed to do a better job of making good decisions, simple decisions, making the easiest play and limited turnovers. But I thought Terrence gave us an unbelievable spark offensively and really got us going.
I'm not sure if the transfer portal reopens anytime soon, but is there any option that you have to add players at this point?
I mean, I don't take – everything's on the table. I don't sleep figuring out what buttons to push to get this team to be the best that they can be. So, I mean, we'll scour every inch of the earth to figure out how we can improve our team, and whether that happens or not, I have no idea. But I'm willing to try anything. What my major focus is on these young men on our roster and pouring into them every single day. We're going to have an unbelievable day of preparation tomorrow, coming off a game where guys played a lot of minutes, so it won't be from a physical standpoint. We'll have a really good practice on Tuesday. And we got to be ready for a very well-coached and a talented UTEP team on Wednesday.
Sometimes sometimes if you take a guy out of the starting lineup and have him come off the bench, you might lose them just mentally. They might kind of check out for a moment. Terrence obviously
That's
didn't
not
do
that way.
tonight.
That's not that way. You know, there was no big reason. We're just trying to figure out what buttons to push to get our team going. And media, fans, other people are way more put way more importance and emphasis on starting lineup than I do. You know, it's like James Scott had started every single game, since the Bahamas when Kaysen got hurt. So James went in the starting lineup, and then James is one of the most accountable players I ever coached, and he was like 6 seconds late for a walkthrough. 6 seconds. It's fine. I mean, okay, you're in the starting lineup, you're out. You know, so I just don't make a big deal about it. Just thought maybe trying something different. Fat was unbelievable the last 2 days when he looked up on Team 1 and saw he wasn't on there. Didn't pout, didn't hang his head, went back to work, and he did what I expected him to do. Lights came on, he was ready to play, and he played really well for us.
How tough does he make your team, though, when he has this kind of – I mean, certainly I'm not expecting 20 points a game, but, when he has this
Yeah,
kind of
I mean, you look at the back of his bubblegum card. I mean, he's a very accomplished player and has put up big numbers and has won a lot of games, and we expect him to play like a big-time player, and we need him to.
Coach, just kind of talk about 10.6 rebounds and a steal for Kanai tonight. He
Yeah.
just seems to be playing better. But he wanted to smoke tonight, it looked like.
He wanted what?
He wanted to smoke tonight.
wanted to
He
smoke.
looked like he was ready. He was ready to perform.
Yeah, I mean, Kanai gave us a great boost. The lights were really bright tonight in a high-profile game against a big-time opponent, and it wasn't too big for him. You know, he gave us a great boost, made some big shots, gave us a lot of energy. I was proud of him.
Pat, you mentioned the turnovers, I think, in your opening statement. They scored 20 points off of those turnovers. Just how much was that a killer for you guys?
I mean, that's big. I mean, turnovers in any sport, no matter if it's football, if it's basketball, or it's errors in baseball, like you can't beat really good teams if your turnover percentage is too high. I mean, basketball is an imperfect game. You're never going to play a perfect game with no turnovers, but we got to play cleaner than we did tonight against a really, really good opponent. That's a great question. We're a balanced team. We're a balanced scoring team. We were built that way. It's been that way ever since this team came together, and we played for the first time in exhibition games in the Bahamas back in July. We don't have the type of roster where it's like we have one guy that does the majority of our scoring. You got to circle him on the scouting report and take that guy away. We've got a lot of guys that can hurt you in a lot of different ways. And they have big nights. I mean, we've had a bunch of different guys have 20-plus points already to this point this year. And then, from Duke's standpoint, I mean, they're very deep as well. I mean, they're like Noah's Ark. They got two of everything. They're deep, they're skilled, they're physical, well-coached. You got to be on it in your defensive system to be able to defend it. We were for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, but we didn't prolong that.
Obviously, Cooper comes in with a lot of hype, really talented player. Just what was the game plan to try and slow him down? Because it looked like you guys wanted to make him work for everything as much as you could.
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good player. Really, really good player, talented. They put him in good positions. Worked a lot on our game plan to counterbalance what they want to do, the positions they want to put him in. He's a unique player at whatever he is, 6'10". They use him in the pick and roll both as a ball screen user and a ball screen setter, and make you make tough decisions as a coach in preparation. I thought our guys did a good job. He got going late in the second half. Made some big shots for him, but I thought for the majority of that first 20, 25 minutes, we did a really good job on executing our plan. But very good player, very skilled, very tough to guard. Appreciate it.